talking about the things that, we never talk about that in my family. No.
It's time.
Yeah, exactly.
We got Halloween around the corner, so.
What do you want to uncover? What do you want to uncover? What secrets do you want revealed? What secrets do you want to share? When you think about asking those questions, having the courage to ask questions with Chiron in Aries and Jupiter in Gemini, that's having the courage to ask questions that maybe you're afraid to ask. Mercury in Scorpio is bringing up what those questions may be. It's like, that's a taboo question. Can I really ask that person that question? Well, if you want to be intimate with them and you want to be vulnerable with them and you're willing for them to be vulnerable with you, then yes, let's broach that. Let's get into these deep, dark, sticky areas and talk it out.
Welcome to the Weekly Transit, a podcast exploring the intersection of Western astrology and Jungian psychology. Astrology is a language that communicates how the planets and stars influence life on Earth, while psychology helps us navigate both conscious and unconscious experiences. Together, these tools offer the potential for self-understanding, growth, and transformation. Join astrologer Scott Tajarian and me, psychotherapist Gabriella Durso, as we dive into the cosmic forecast each week.
Welcome to the Weekly Transit. This is the week of October 7th to the 13th. Thank you for joining us. You can find us wherever you listen to podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify by searching the Weekly Transit. And if you'd like to give back to Gabriella and I for content we're creating here, you can subscribe, rate, and leave us a monthly donation on Spotify. You can subscribe, rate, and review us on Apple Podcasts. And if you're watching us on YouTube, you can hit that thumbs up button. And if you're not subscribed already, please subscribe. And whether you're watching or listening, come over to YouTube, leave us a comment. That's the best way to get in touch with Gabriella and I and to be a part of the conversation that we're having here.
Absolutely. Thank you for your support.
Yes. The theme this week is conversational depth as we highlight Mercury's transit into Scorpio. Of course, if you'd like to learn how this transit or any of the following transits are affecting you directly and how you can work with the cosmic energy to navigate your way successfully, you can contact me for a reading at theweeklytransit.com. Before we get started, I wanted to mention another podcast that a couple of my clients and regulars in the moon cycle classes have started. This is Anna and Stina. They have a podcast called The Sag Moon Sisters.
What a cute name.
Yes, The Sag Moon Sisters. So you can follow them on Instagram at wondering.star.wisdom and at sarcastic sea goat. They are doing a fundraiser right now for the tragedy that occurred with Hurricane Helene in the southern part of the United States. Anna lives in North Carolina, and the western part of that state was hit really, really hard by the weather. And she is offering, if you go to her Instagram page or listen to her podcast, Sag Moon Sisters, she has a link that she's sharing to her PayPal where she is taking in donations, and any donation, any amount, she will do a reading for you. I don't think it's a live reading, but I think it's a written or recorded reading. And she is an astrologer. So any amount that you can donate to Anna, she will do a reading for you, and she will donate that money to the people that are really struggling right now in Western North Carolina, many of whom she knows. She has a very strong, close personal connection to that region. And so she's, doing whatever she can to help support those people. I mean, a lot of them are like the roads have been cut off. There's nobody sending them support. They're, she says they're very resilient people. These are mountain people. And so they're finding their way, but, they can use the help. So if you're looking for clarity on how the planets and stars are affecting you, reach out to Anna. Any amount you can donate, she will do a reading for you.
What a beautiful offering.
Yes, for sure. And check out Sag Moon Sisters, their podcast. They are amazing. Stina and Anna, really, really brilliant astrologers, wonderful insight. They're incredible women. So I encourage you to listen to their podcast as well. The theme this week, again, is conversational depth. We're highlighting Mercury's transit into Scorpio. There are 5 transits this week, beginning with Venus, the goddess of love and beauty, the planet of relationships, transiting through the fixed water sign, symbolized by the scorpion, Scorpio, forming a trine, a supportive aspect with Mars, the god of war, the planet of action, aggression, and conflict, and the planetary ruler of Scorpio. Mars is transiting through the cardinal water sign, symbolized by the crab, Cancer. So this is a water-water connection between the masculine planet, Mars, and the feminine planet, Venus. It's supportive. This is occurring from Sunday, October 6th to Thursday, October 10th, with an exact trine occurring on Tuesday, October 8th.
So this is really building off of the ancestral healing we talked about.
Oh yeah,
last week.
This is I should put that in for the theme too, because there's a lot more ancestral healing happening this week, not just with this transit, but with other transits that we're going to be talking about. Particularly the one at the end of the week is, really, really heavy. So this week kind of eases us in with this more supportive aspect where maybe we have the courage to really delve into our past and churn up whatever is there from our life or from the lives of our ancestors that is helping us really come to terms with who we are at the root.
Well, and it's one thing to dive into the past. And I think some of us are fearful that if we go too much in the past, we might get stuck there, which is possible. If you spend a long time reflecting, there is a line where it becomes potentially too much. But what I hear with Venus and Scorpio making this connection is that what's really available for us is transformation. So that if there's any fear about being stuck, that's not what this transit is indicating. It's like you can go there and there's an opportunity for renewal, for a death, a rebirth, and ultimately a moving forward in your understanding of that material.
Exactly. I mean, I can't think of Scorpio without think of bowel movements. So it's like
one of your favorite topics.
So, we're pooping out the old frequency of our relationships that are no longer, that are weighing us down.
Well, it's the final step in the digestive process. So you're done digesting.
Exactly.
And you know what the waste is.
Yes.
And you're ready to let it go.
Exactly.
Yep.
So yeah, it's lightening the load with your relationships, moving through, releasing whatever you have brought from your past, from your ancestry, into your intimate bonds. This is I don't want this anymore. I don't want this anymore. Like this was my parents, or this was my grandparents, or this is other people in my family. Why does everyone in my family go through the same things with their relationships? I don't want this to happen to me.
Yeah. And so in that digestion process, you're keeping the nutrients or the information that you do want to carry forward,
right?
And eliminating the rest.
Yes. Yes. This is a really powerful, beautiful transit that is going to carry us through the early part of the week from Sunday to Tuesday. So really think, like, where do I want to transform in my relationships? What am I ready to release as a partner? What am I ready to release from partnership? And when I think about the past and fear about the past, it's interesting that you say some people have a fear of getting stuck in the past. I think of it as like fear of whatever the past is going to reveal to you.
It's
ignoring,
Sure.
There's something from the past that I need to be aware of, but I'm afraid to look at it. And so this is encouraging you to look in those deep, dark areas of your past, of your familial history that you've maybe been afraid to look at.
And there's also a quality here with water meeting water that's encouraging us to surrender. I think the elements can really help us understand how to approach circumstances week to week. If you're needing to approach something with fire, that's a very different energy than water.
Yes.
So there's something about going into the past and transformation that it's an allowing experience rather than it's a being versus a doing.
Yes.
Maybe there's a receptivity that's involved. It's like needing to let information in. It's actually a feminine yin quality that we might be experiencing this week.
Well, you drink water. You don't drink fire.
You
don't
do.
drink earth. Air, you breathe it, so it comes into your body, but water, you drink the water, and it, like that first glass of water in the morning, do you feel this? Like when I drink that first glass of water, I feel it like going down my entire chest.
It's like I'm alive.
Yeah. It's like I feel like the fuel coming in or something like that. So water is something that is healing. It allows the shift to take, like when water touches earth, it can move the earth. So yeah, there's hopefully a lot of healing through this transit. Now, the second transit this week is one that we've talked about quite a bit in the weeks leading up, and we're going to continue to keep reminding people about this transit because this is a very long transit, which has been occurring since September 15th, really. This is Jupiter, the god of thunder, lord of justice, the planet of luck and expansion, transiting through the mutable air sign, symbolized by the twins, Gemini, forming a sextile, a supportive aspect with Chiron, the wound, and the ancient wisdom which is unlocked through healing that wound, which is also transiting retrograde through Aries, the cardinal fire sign symbolized by the ram. This is happening at 21 degrees. This has been occurring since September 15th. They're going to be within 2 degrees of each other until November 28th. So this is like 2.5 months. These two planets are aligning in close contact with each other for the first time in these two signs since 1870. Wow. So, yes. So this is a generational transit, a multi-generational transit, which is encouraging us to expand our conscious awareness to really, what can you learn? What can you learn about your own fears, your own insecurities? When I think of Chiron in Aries, this is about facing our fears and insecurities. Where are we being inauthentic?
And also, too, how to communicate about those fears and insecurities.
Yes.
It's one thing to have a internal awareness arise, but we know that learning is equal parts taking in the information and then sharing it with others. So being able to express.
And to be able to listen to the fears of others. Because
Mm-hmm.
remember when we were talking about Gemini and communication, it's all about listening.
Mm-hmm.
So do you have the courage to listen to other people
Mm-hmm.
and their perspective, which might be different than yours, which is going to help you learn something new? When you have the courage to listen to others, that invites them to have the courage to listen to you.
Mm-hmm. And two, maybe just to highlight the fact that we are all wounded.
Mm-hmm.
We all have Chiron in our charts. As you refer to it, it's a wound you feel that you can't recover from. And it's really important to be reminded of that. There's so much perfectionism out there, and it's just, especially on social media, just this manufactured sort of lifestyle that many are trying to project onto the world.
The curated lifestyle.
The curated lifestyle. And I get caught in that trap too of wanting to just engage with beauty. And it's important.
How Libra of you.
How Libra of me, I know. But it's important the more you can share and express your wound and then also receive that from others, we start to normalize the fact that we all have wounds. And it just, I mean, I feel a lot of relief when I imagine that. I guess that's why I like being a therapist.
Yes, because you can really see that you're not the only person suffering.
That we're all human beings.
Yes.
Having an experience that is at times enlightening and beautiful, and at other times like just devastating and really hard to hold.
Yes.
So.
And when you say, yes, absolutely. And when you say hard to hold, I think of this Jupiter, the planet of expansion, expanding our ability to hold new thought.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well said.
Yes. So Jupiter is also begins its retrograde transit this week. So the sextile with Jupiter and Chiron is exact on Friday, October 12th. But on Wednesday, October 9th, is when Jupiter begins its retrograde transit through Gemini. So Jupiter entered its retrograde shadow on July 15th, 2024 at 11 degrees. It begins its retrograde on Wednesday, October 9th at 21 degrees. It retrogrades back to 11 degrees, where the retrograde will end on February 4th of 2025. And then Jupiter exits its retrograde shadow. It'll be back where it is right now on October 9th. It will be back there on April 30th. So when you just think of that time frame, this is, and I encourage you to look at your astrological code. What planets or key points do you have in air signs, fire signs, or mutable signs that are somewhere between 11 and 21 degrees? Whatever is there in your astrological code between 11 and 21 degrees during this period from July 15th to April 30th is where expansion is happening for you. Conscious expansion. You're becoming more aware. Because Gemini is about consciousness, Jupiter is expansion, so it's expanding our conscious awareness.
How does that fit with the retrograde? Because Jupiter is expanding, and I think of retrograde sometimes as a bit of a contraction, or because it has the effect of slowing something down. How do those two energies fit together with this transit?
Well, as you said, Jupiter is expansion. And so it's expanding direct in one way, and then it expands back the other way. You know, it's like deep breath in, deep breath out. So it is contracting, but you're letting out what was expanded. Does that make sense? You know, it's like,
yeah, it does.
So it's like you're taking in the idea this new conscious idea, and then maybe you're sharing the idea. That's the contraction. And as you share the new idea, then that's during the retrograde. When it comes back direct, you get new feedback from the people that you shared the idea with, which is going to expand you even more, so that by the end, you're feeling even more aware than you ever have in whatever area that is. It all depends on, where is Jupiter transiting in your astrological code? Is it the 7th house, the house of marriage? Is it the 4th house, the house of home? The 3rd house, the house of communication? What planets is it aligning with? Do you have Venus at 21 degrees in Leo? If so, then Jupiter's making contact right now for an extended period of time with your Venus, which means you're going through some sort of expanded shift in your relationships, where you're becoming more aware of how you feel in your heart when you think of Leo and Venus when it comes to relationships and connecting the heart to the mind. That's just one example. That's why I encourage people to, if you're not sure, reach out to me for a reading and we can get into the nitty-gritty of what this transit means for you and how to ride this Jupiter wave, which is all about expansion and luck. So where do you want to be pressing your luck, or maybe holding back a little bit?
Well, it also helps, when you're listening to this podcast and there's all these different transits and different potential experiences you can be having, to help you know where to focus, because there's so much that you could potentially focus on. Exactly.
And the focus here is conscious awareness, listening, learning, and asking the questions that you're afraid to ask, listening to people that you've been afraid to listen to in the past or before. Now, as one planet goes,
and maybe these are family members.
Could be.
Because of Mars and Cancer.
Yeah, exactly. That's how you put it all together.
Yeah,
exactly.
Like listening to a family member share about their wound. Maybe a parent who hasn't opened up before about their childhood.
Exactly.
And as a child, to have a parent do that is a really intense, intimate, transformative experience.
Yeah, seeing them from a completely new perspective. So as one planet begins retrograde, another planet ends its retrograde, and that is Pluto. Pluto ends its retrograde this week. On Friday, October 11th is when Pluto ends its retrograde transit in Capricorn. So Pluto has been retrograde through Capricorn. It moved into Capricorn back on September 1st. It now begins direct motion, final push out of Capricorn. It transits out of Capricorn on November 19th. So this is the final push from October 11th to November 19th. That's basically 5 weeks of taking responsibility for yourself. Holding yourself accountable, holding those that you are connected to accountable for their part as well. Standing in your power as the authority. This is about taking back power, but also be mindful of those who are trying to take power from you. Who is trying to take power from you right now? Whoever is or whatever is. This is where you need to stand in your power and take responsibility for whatever it is you need to take responsibility for, so that you can be your own authority.
I can already see how that could be related to parental dynamics, because parents are our first authority figures.
Yes.
And so it can be a lifelong experience of detangling from that, depending on what kind of parent you had and what that experience was like for you. But also I'm hearing a need to take responsibility about the wound as well.
Yes, taking responsibility for your fears, for your insecurities. I'm afraid. I got to own that. I'm afraid.
Right. And there could be a reckoning with, okay, maybe this was passed down to me, but it's now something that's in my backpack.
Mm-hmm.
I'm carrying it, and I have to take responsibility for the fact that it does belong to me now.
Yes.
And so understanding how to recognize where the responsibility came from and where it is now, and what to do about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Beautiful insight.
Thank you.
Thank you for that reflection. Yes. Now, the highlighted transit of the week is Mercury, the messenger of the gods, guide of souls to the underworld, the planet of consciousness, communication, coordination, the god of merchants and thieves, transiting through the fixed water sign, symbolized by the Scorpio. Scorpio is ruled by Pluto and Mars. It's interesting because, when you look at Pluto, when you look at the symbol for Pluto, it looks similar to the symbol for Mercury. They're both made up of the three root symbols, the circle of spirit, the cross of matter, the crescent of receptivity. Both have a circle of spirit on top of a cross of matter. It looks like a little stick figure with like a head on a plus symbol. So like the singular leg and then the two arms out. But Pluto is the crescent of receptivity in between the circle of spirit and the cross of matter, signifying the transformation that occurs to the eternal soul in the world of matter, where Mercury, the crescent of receptivity, is on top of the circle of spirit. So it looks like, a couple of antennas or devil horns, when you think of the underworld. But it's about communication. That indicates communication happening here. But it's interesting because Pluto is lord of the underworld. Scorpio represents the underworld. And Mercury is guide of souls to the underworld. So this is bringing conscious awareness to the sixth sense, to the shadow realm.
My favorite.
Yes. The shadow realm, the taboo, the subjects that are whispered about in secret. This is all about secrets, bringing conscious awareness to secrets. This is from October 13th to November 2nd. That's when Mercury is transiting through Scorpio. The last 3 times Mercury transited through Scorpio was October 21st to November 9th, 2023, October 29th to November 17th, 2022, and November 5th to the 24th of 2021. So think back to those dates for clues on what could be in store for you this time around. But this is about getting into those deep conversations. Talking about the things that, we never talk about that in my family. No.
It's time.
Yeah, exactly.
We got Halloween around the corner, so.
What do you want to uncover? What do you want to uncover? What secrets do you want revealed? What secrets do you want to share? When you think about asking those questions, having the courage to ask questions with Chiron in Aries and Jupiter in Gemini, that's having the courage to ask questions that maybe you're afraid to ask. Mercury in Scorpio is bringing up what those questions may be. It's like, that's a taboo question. Can I really ask that person that question? Well, if you want to be intimate with them and you want to be vulnerable with them and you're willing for them to be vulnerable with you, then yes, let's broach that. Let's get into these deep, dark, sticky areas and talk it out.
It's so interesting to me that I just thought of Halloween because I shared a couple weeks ago, I'm doing these walks early in the morning when it's dark, and in our neighborhood, people love decorating for Halloween.
Big Halloween neighborhood here. Yeah.
Yeah. And like some of the decorations are just really gnarly.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's like
the baby with the leeches.
Yeah. Like baby stuff and, decapitated heads, like sitting on benches and just like a lot of, it's like really intense, especially early in the morning. It's like, okay.
In this wholesome neighborhood.
It's like, okay, Gabriella, you want to engage with your fear? Here's like yeah.
Huh.
Here's a dismembered skeleton on a front lawn.
Yeah.
but it's kind of that energy of
Yeah.
like this, getting the skeletons out of the closet
Yep.
and put them on your front yard,
That's
front
it.
lawn. It's like,
Yes.
it's time to expose the dirty laundry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, who do you want to be vulnerable with? Who do you want to be intimate with? Who would you like to have an intimate conversation with? What secrets would you like to learn? What secrets would you like to reveal? You know, when you reveal a secret to somebody, it can be very healing because you share something that is very personal, very intimate, and there might be some fear around, can I really tell this person what I'm about to tell them? And then when you do, and they accept you, and they appreciate you through what you have to share, that's healing. It's like, wow, I don't have to hide with this person. I can actually show myself for who I am. And that's really what we're working through here with this Mars in Cancer, driving towards the past and our roots to uncover what exists there that we need to make peace with. When you think of your Chiron in Aries facing our insecurities, and then the Scorpio energy is also ruled by Mars, having the courage to be intimate, to take the risk, to share something about yourself with somebody that might be taboo, might be different than what is the norm. Are they going to accept me when I share with them that I'm doing something that is different than what is normal? It's actually taboo.
And that is such a different kind of courage. That
It is.
Scorpio expression of Mars.
It's inward.
It's the receptivity. It's the feminine energy.
water.
It's the yin versus the courageous Aries quality. It's like
on the attack.
Yeah, it's all about expression and
Yes.
about outward directed energy.
Yep, totally.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, I want to just do a quick plug for your book, if we can, because you were talking about the symbols, and I just wanted to speak to that briefly for anyone who doesn't know.
Yep.
That Scott has a beautiful book from a couple years ago available on your website,
Yes,
but also
and
on Amazon.
Yep.
Okay. And it helps break down all of the symbols.
Yes.
And it's so simple and beautiful and laid out so clearly for anyone who's wanting to follow along with maybe some of the references Scott's making. Highly recommend looking into the book.
Yes, I mean, that's how I learned astrology was by learning the symbols. In order to understand a language, you have to be able to read a language. You can't really be fluent in a language unless you know how to read it. So I'm saying a lot of words like Mercury and Scorpio, but what does that look like? When you can see what it looks like, it helps you understand what we're talking about here in a deeper way.
It does.
Yeah.
And you're such a visual learner and a creative person.
Yep.
And that's how I like to learn too. So
Absolutely.
I just wanted to mention that because we haven't.
Yeah.
I sort of forget sometimes that it's out there in the world. But
absolutely.
Yeah. It's a great reference.
Absolutely, for sure. And you can get it the hardcover or the PDF. Either way. Yeah, the Kindle. Our final transit of the week is a doozy, and thank you, Gabriella. This is the sun, the giver of light, life, and vitality, transiting through the cardinal air sign, symbolized by the scales, Libra, forms a square, a stressful aspect with Mars in Cancer, while Mars forms a square, a stressful aspect to Chiron, retrograde in Aries, while Chiron, retrograde in Aries, opposes the sun in Libra. This is all happening at 21 degrees. This is from Tuesday to Tuesday, October 8th to the 15th, with the exact square opposition square happening on Sunday, October 13th. So
this sounds intense.
It's very intense.
Can you break it down?
Well, I think it's everything that we've been talking about this week, where it's having the courage to delve into your past, to face your fears and insecurities. These fears and insecurities come from somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't just
do.
like appear out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
They come from my childhood. They come from my relationship to my parents or my ancestors. They're in the blood.
Mm-hmm. They're in the DNA.
They're in the DNA. So do I have the courage to delve into them? Now, if we're doing the work, hopefully this transit will not be as intense. But if you're not doing the work, or even if you are doing the work, there still may be conflicts that come up in your relationships. And be open to receiving and experiencing the conflicts that arise in your relationships, because what you're being shown is something from your past, your ancestry, your insecurities in these areas that needs to be addressed.
Okay. So it's happening for our highest good.
It's happening for our highest good, even though it might not feel good.
Mm-hmm.
It's happening so that we can be aware of something that is going on energetically within ourselves that needs to be addressed
And healed.
Mm-hmm. So we can make peace with the past, so that we can be more confident, courageous, and authentic in our close personal relationships. And from that perspective, we will hopefully receive a harmonious balance between ourselves and whoever we are in partnership with, whether it's a lover, a friend, or a business partner.
Okay.
All right. And that's the week.
Thank you, Scott.
You're welcome, Gabriella.
Thank you to our listeners.
Yes,
thank you for
very
being
much.
here. For those of you engaging and commenting, or even just consistently showing up and listening.
Absolutely.
We really appreciate you being here.
Very much so. Until next week.
Until then.
Thank you for listening to the Weekly Transit. If you're curious to learn how these transits or any other transits may be affecting you, or if you're interested in learning more about your astrological code, contact me for a reading at theweeklytransit.com. If you're interested in delving into the world of psychotherapy with Gabriella, you can schedule a consultation with her at gabrieladurso.com. That's Gabrielladurso.com. Support for the podcast can be done through a monthly contribution on Spotify, rating us 5 stars, subscribing to our channel on YouTube, or writing a favorable review on Apple Podcasts. We are grateful for your support. This episode was produced by me, Scott Tajarian. Music written by Ben Leinbach from Listen Deep by Amber Herzog Lyman. Wishing you all the best as you ride the planetary waves.